When you guys want to become true masters of Pick3 Lottery, there's a couple of things that you got to pay attention to, all right? And you have to follow your state's patterns. A lot of folks are not following their state's patterns. They're getting all kind of workouts, which is really cool, but you got to know how to use them for your state. Well, I want to show you a particular thing using key digit numbers and how key digit numbers are transforming our Pick3 Lottery games for a lot of players. Now, what I'm about to share with you, I can't guarantee hits on the channel or in the membership, all right? So you have to use your senses, your due diligence. You have to study, all right? So we're going to go over two particular states. I want to share with you how this thing is happening and how we're catching repeat hits. How many of you are seeing repeat hits going through your states? I'm going to show you these two states, show you what you might want to look for, so pay attention. All right, we're going to go through Pick3 California. That's our first state up. Now, October 4th midday, there was a hit of 750. I'm using what we call a rundown. I'm using a 317 rundown. There are so many other rundowns that you can use. Feel free to choose the one that you think works best for your state. When I'm doing these videos for you guys for the lottery community, I'm only using a 123 and a 317 because it's general and I love to track patterns. But that doesn't mean you only have to use this rundown, all right? But do pay attention to what I'm about to share with you, all right? So for those that don't know how to count out a grid, let's do that right now. We'll do the first column. So once you lock in your last previous hit, you're gonna add each of these numbers down the columns. So the first column, you're gonna add 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. For your 2-digit numbers, only use your ones place your 0. 0 plus 3 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 3 is 12, use your 2, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 3 is 11, only use that 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7. So the number you start with should be the number you end with. All right, so that's the next thing, knowing how to count out the grid. So make sure you count out your second column, which is 1 all the way down, and the third column, 7 all the way down. 750 you start, 750 you shall end with, okay? All right. Now, I'm going to teach you, and I've been telling you guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, all right? So that you get access to my videos, especially when they're first coming out, like this particular video. I need you guys to put your notification bells on because we're about to take this thing to a whole nother level, and I want you guys to enjoy the ride with me. Now, let's talk about these key digit numbers. What are key digit numbers? Let's talk about that. People ask me, how do I know that these numbers are pulling particular hits and patterns? It's called study. It's called study. I simply ask myself a simple question. When hits or repeats are coming straight across the grid, what is the connection to it? And I come to find out that there's particular numbers that connect to these type of patterns and hits throughout the state. Now, there's a downfall to this. It doesn't happen every draw, and it's not going to happen every day. So pay attention to what your state is throwing out. And like I said, you may see some good numbers from a particular rundown. You may have to stick with it for a couple of days. And that's totally up to you. I cannot tell you how to play. The key digits we're going to talk about right now. The number 2, and it's mirror number 7, okay? So let's talk about these 2s and 7s. Whenever I see a 2 or 7, and they're in front of a double or a mirrored pair, is when my eye starts to pay attention to that grid. Because it's telling me something could be important or there's a particular pattern. That's what I mean by key digit. How do I know it's 2 and 7? Because they keep on reoccurring and reoccurring. Other states could have different key digits. So don't get into the comments talking about, well, my state ain't pulling that. Just start studying. You'll find out sooner or later. And it's going to also depend on the rundown you're using. Could vary. So again, make sure you're backtracking before you get in those comments. Okay? All right. Now we're going to talk about mirrored pairs. The first thing I want you to do is look at this 7. Notice it's in front of a 50. I'm going to highlight that. And then I'm also going to highlight the 2. 5 and 0 are what we call mirror pairs. They're mirror numbers. 5 and 0 is actually the same number. Remember, I'm telling you guys, if there's key digits, 2s and 7s, and they're in front or back of doubles or mirrored pairs, I want you to start paying attention to them. All right? Now, for this particular lesson, the pairs are mirrors. They're 5s and 0s, meaning they're the same number, they're just opposite. You may have other mirror pairs that you may want to pay attention to, especially if there's key digits involved. And again, 2s and 7s are not the only key digits. 0s and 5 could be a 0. You also have 1 could be a 6, 6 could be a 1. 2 could be a 7, 7 could be a 2. 3 could be an 8, 8 could be a 3. 4 could be a 9, and a 9 could be a 4. Now, this is very important. Depending on the keys is going to depend on how your state is tracking your particular patterns. So I want you guys to make sure you're paying attention. But this is one particular pattern I do notice a lot of. I noticed that they're using the 2s and 7s as a future number, or what we call a forecast number. Shout out to Candle Lotto Shop. Meaning, if this 2 and 7 is in front of a mirror or double, or in back of a mirror and double, there's a possibility that a 7 or 2 can be coming up in a few draws, including one of these numbers or one of these combinations going across. So if I'm looking at any number that has a 7, let's do that. So 7, I do like the 750. Always use the key because the key could come back. I also like 067 that has a 7 and a 374. Okay. Now, don't just use the 7. The 2 might want to play around too, because 2 and 7 is actually the same number. They're mirrors. And a lot of people get stuck on this. So use both. Halfway down your rundown are just mirrors of each other. Look how we start with 750, midway down 205. Notice how this is a 067. That's going to turn into a 512. And that 374 is going to turn into a 829. Those are mirrors. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Please don't do that. Okay? They're just the opposite. They're the same, they're just opposite. All right? What you would do now, looking at the set of numbers, there's a possibility that one of these numbers could come back in a couple of draws or days. Now, it's your job to start paying attention to what your state is doing. Okay? You can get as specific as you want to. This is your study time. You do how you need to do it. But what actually happened out of all of these numbers that came back or came and played was the 705. It didn't play in perfect order, but it did hit. It hit. This was a repeat. This was a repeat hit. Okay? They happen sometimes. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're seeing a lot of repeats, pay attention. It could be telling you that your state is lining up for a triple or a false triple. If you notice the patterns in your state are up and down, meaning the things you were using to get hits here and there and they're not happening, it's okay. They have a cool off period. They'll be picking back up. If you start learning your state and you start studying your state, you see these things go up and down, up and down, up and down. Rundowns, as much as we love them or whatever you're using, they're not made to be made 100% of the time. That's just fact. Why? Because the house always wins. All right. So is this the only way to use this rundown? No. Are key digits the only way to use this? No. But hopefully it'll start you focusing on what things are just coming straight across, because it's happening. Okay. And it doesn't have to just be repeats. It could be any of the numbers that have those particular key digit numbers in there. So far, so good. Go ahead and hit that like. I got one more state for you. Oh, yes. You're going to learn from Miss Florida Hot Picks. All right. I'm going to show the next state. Honey, the one and only, my home state, Florida. What's going on, Pick 3 Florida? Okay. I know I had even my people in my membership scratching their head. What's going on with all of these repeat numbers? Excuse me. And I noticed that our patterns were a little shaky all week long. And I told people, I said, I don't know what series, but a triple, false triple is coming. It came today. I think it was 499 that hit. And we kept having these repeats that were in exact numbers. So pay attention to those patterns, just like I'm telling you. Let's talk about this Florida. Okay, so again, we're still using the 317 rundown. I'm going to tell you again, feel free to test out others if you don't like using the 317. My thing is, I don't have a favorite rundown. I like to see what's hot for the state for that week and go from there. I don't pick favorites. I don't pick anything favorite. Playing the lottery is not about love. And if you're trying to find patterns that work and you see that things are working, I stick to that, and that's it. I don't fall in love with any number or any strategy. You just got to find out what's hot for your state. Okay. So with the Florida, October 3rd, midday, 082 had hit. And we're going to talk about some key digits, this time 0 and 5. Okay. Now, I want you to make sure you're paying close attention to what we call future numbers or forecast numbers. Again, shout out to Kendall Lotto Shop. I learned what forecast numbers are. Those are just numbers that are in front of doubles or mirrors. That's it. Don't make it bigger than that. Meaning that those particular numbers could be coming with a particular combination in the next couple draws or a couple of days. Okay, that's what that could mean. Okay. All right. So we have this here. Your key digits, I always tell people 2s and 7s or 0s and 5s. If you see them in front or back of doubles or mirrors, I need you to pay attention. Do you guys see where your keys are? Okay. Well, if we look at the 399, we know there's no keys involved. But if we look at that forecast, that future number, and we notice it's a 05 or 2 or 7, you put your eye there. I'm not telling you and guaranteeing you things are going to happen, but pay attention to them. Okay? All right. So this means, if you're looking here, that anything with a 0 or 5 running across could be coming back. Now, there are some times where the hits will be diagonal. Ooh, we'll get there later, y'all. But right now, we're just going across, okay? Okay. So anyways, I'm going to pick out all the numbers that have zeros. So I'm going to go 082, which was the previous hit, 606, 220. Always use the keys themselves. You'll be so shocked how many times that those will actually be the hitters. Now let's look for 5s. We have 537, 151, and 775. Okay, so I would use this set of numbers maybe for a couple of days, a couple of draws, and my thing is just practice on paper. Don't go start spending the money. Some folks, they get so excited, they get overzealous, and then they'll say, you know what? Not only am I going to play, I'm going to put a lot on it. You better make sure that you're getting your predictions on papers first. That way you know what you're doing. At least have an idea, because again, the house always wins. So you have to think of all of that before you start even thinking about playing with money. Practice on paper first. Don't be a fool. Okay. So we have here, again, just like California, the repeat came back. 082, and it hit exact. It hit exact. So I hope people will stop trying me in these comments. Don't sit up here and tell me what does or doesn't work. You start researching what works in your state. Okay. Now these are two entirely different states, but notice one thing in common were those key digit numbers. Okay. So start paying attention. I'm not saying this is going to work 100% of the time. I'm not going to even tell you it's going to happen in the next day or next draw. You have to study this to see how your state may be formulating those hits, but at least you have a good idea of how to start reading your grids and letting those key digits work for you if they're able to do so. All right. Make sure you hit that like, share this with everyone in the Pick3 community. Y'all make sure you're subscribed to the channel and push your notification bell on, because when we're doing the live streams in public, I want you guys to be able to attend and participate. Also, make sure if you want deeper study and you want to have more access to me, yes, make sure you join that membership to support this channel. We love to have you guys over there. I will put that link in the description, and we'll see you guys over there. All right. I got to go. Got to make up these prediction lists. I will see you guys on the next video.